that it is absolutely the fact that there were people among academicians, among journalists, among those who were familiar with the region, but deeply familiar with everything. They felt that something is happening wrong and that something could erupt. Preventive diplomacy has to start with it, but also has to start far earlier with World War II, with World War I, etc., to see what international community could do. And how could start negotiations? How could start with the crisis that is appearing on the horizon? But what is the main message that I want to send regarding this issue? In this country where I was born, in this country, the United States of America, I would say a very happy country, the strongest country in the world in terms of many, many features. The one thing I would say used to be perceived wrongly. Because Americans used to think that whatever is good, for example, for Illinois, it will definitely be good for Afghanistan. If something is workable in Nevada, that's a perfect recipe for Cambodia. Not quite sure. And the lessons learned should be seen from two ways. First way is the similarity with all the crises in the world, where you could find that one is more similar to other, but also at the same time, variety and really distinction between crises. If preventive diplomacy that I'm talking about fails to recognize so many things in the crisis, starting with the culture of the people on the ground, habits and common law on the ground, religion or religions presented and observed on the ground, history of the region, factions that are fighting or about to start fighting, goals, perceptions from all sides, roots of these perceptions, prejudices widely accepted within factions, and also, last but far from being least, is while introducing modern society to be very careful and to really find the framework in time to be found who, how, and for how long will last, and also to use also old things sometimes that may be very helpful. I will mention several examples where I could find similarities and also huge distinctions where we could apply or not apply lessons learned from somewhere, in this case from Bosnia. If we look at Afghanistan, for example, everybody knew what was happening, Taliban regime and the Northern Alliance, all the history since Soviets entered Afghanistan, and later when the whole bunches of events, horrible events, shaken that lovely country. What happened when Taliban regime was deposed and international forces came in? The Bonn Conference was organized, decided about certain things. Loya Jirga, traditional tribal assembly was gathered and pressed to adopt constitutional framework given, or if you want, agreed in Bonn. What I wanted to say regarding this, obviously many things that I just previously mentioned, necessary for understanding of every single crisis, failed at Bonn Conference, failed among many diplomats, thinking that what is good for a certain Western country immediately is gorgeous for Afghanistan. Instead of using old institutions and old methods and old framework to combine with new ones and steadily and slowly introducing, modernizing the society, the modernization and the introduction of these modern things started immediately. If you ask any older Afghan, everybody will say that the rule of King Mohammad Zahir Shah was the golden age of Afghanistan in 20th century. But if you asked most of diplomats being in the process of arranging peace in Afghanistan, mentioning monarchy, they will say, oh, come on, that is old, anachronistic society, the institution, and we want something modern. And so, well, with modern, I don't know if you are following news in recent days and months, I'm not quite sure how that is going. Even the Secretary General, in his report in 2004, on the very first page mentioned that many Afghans really favor constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy was a good frame in Afghanistan to bridge old and new, and then to slowly introduce modern things and at the same time respect what is real culture, what is at what extent religion is important for the society, and etc. It is obvious that these things would be far easier to introduce and far easier to handle with the man, even though in very old age, but somebody who has a legacy of something that was very good.